Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the Lakers, 3,500 wins. Congratulations, team. We've reached the 3,500 win mark. I don't believe there's anyone close to that, to be honest with you. I know we were out ahead of the Celtics by a lot in regards to regular season and playoff and finals combined wins. So we're the top, cream of the crop, winningest team, best franchise ever, period. Also, congratulations to Anthony Davis. He got Player of the Month this month. I don't know how many times he's gotten that this year or with our team. I don't think I've ever announced it. But since I got that information, congratulations to Anthony Davis on earning that honor for this month. We talked about it a couple of days ago that Nick Wright had brought up the fact that he was in position to get that before the last game, and he went off and had 40 in the last game, so you knew for a fact he was going to get that, and he did. So we're definitely happy about it. So yeah, that's the latest. I haven't heard anything else other than that. I know that Anthony Davis is expected to play in the next game. No surprises there for the Utah game, and we're just waiting it out. Obviously, our team has to arrive in Utah. I don't know if they've done that yet. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know, but I know that there was a blizzard or some type of snowstorm that was also headed in that direction. So, hopefully our guys are in there now and then not having to worry about too much. But yeah, that's really the thought right now. The Lakers are just having a day off, man. After what is it, 2 or 3 straight wins? 3 straight wins. And the Bulls, the Timberwolves, and now, of course, the Rockets. We have won 6 out of our last 7 games, which is really, really, really good, especially given the circumstances. And we are also very proud of the fact that we just got other players playing well, man. Rui Hachimura stepping up. Austin Reeves has since broken out over the last several weeks. It's just something to see when you know that your guys are stepping up to the plate and everybody's coming back healthy right in time for the playoffs. And getting these unprecedented type of performances from guys like we've been getting from Rui over the last couple games. You just know it's only 5 games left before the playoffs. You got to deal with a good, healthy Laker team that's finding its confidence with every passing game. So we're a major problem in the Western Conference, as we've talked about a lot. There are other teams out there that we need to consider, obviously. But as I've mentioned a lot of times, I think there's about 5 teams in this league that I don't favor us in a series over. The other 25, I do, and they're not the conventional names. Basically for me, it's Memphis, Sacramento, and then New York, Milwaukee, and Boston. Those are the teams that I'm concerned with. There are others, but I definitely have us edging those teams if we were to see them in a 7-game series. But those 5 are the ones I'm not so sure about. I'm concerned about their center position and the fact that we're slim there and how much size they'll be able to throw at Anthony Davis, plus the depth of some of those teams. There are other teams that I didn't mention that give us size problems, but I don't respect their depth. So that's what you're looking at. Like Cleveland, I wouldn't want to see Cleveland in a 7-game series in theory, but if we can extend the series past 5 and 6 and not get swept out of there, I don't like them long. 7 in 7 we can beat them, because their bench is going to end up exposing itself, and we're going to be able to take advantage in those situations and ultimately win games, I believe. So these are things that I just believe. They don't necessarily have to play out that way. I might be overrating the Knicks. I might be overrating the Kings or something like that, but I just look at the sizes and the depth. The size and the depth combined. And those are the 5 teams that I respect that have both of those things in this mix. Philly should probably be mentioned as well, just because of Joel. I think I just actually left them out, but I definitely consider them a serious problem. So yeah, that's what it is. About 6 teams, and I don't respect Philly's depth that much. I think that's probably why I didn't necessarily throw them in, but I definitely don't like us against Joel, because he's Joel, and I don't think we have anybody that can guard him except for Anthony, and he and Anthony like to go at it, and it's just a lot that has to be considered. So I actually wonder about that series, but it is what it is, man. I'm not picking us to lose against those teams, not necessarily. I'm just saying that doesn't appear to be the greatest matchup for my squad with those particular 6 teams. Only, is it 2 of those are out west? Only 2 of those teams are out west. Sacramento and Memphis. Everybody else out west, I don't fear you. Clippers, I know we ain't beat y'all in a long time, but the way your team is currently constructed, you should not be able to beat us as we're currently constructed in a 7-game series, especially without Paul George. Absolutely not. The Golden State Warriors, I always have a healthy respect for the Golden State Warriors, but how they're currently constructed, they're not necessarily built to do anything but shoot jumpers. We'll see if that changes with Wiggins coming back, but I doubt it. And then I look at teams like Denver. I'm not going to get into a Denver spiel. they have to prove themselves to me. I just ain't never seen Denver be that good ever. And the team that they have is not much different than the team they've always had. And the West is a lot better than it was when they accumulated all their wins. And that's just what it is. I'm poised to see them perform like a 4 seed and be a 1 seed, depending on their matchup. Who else is out there? New Orleans. I have healthy respect for New Orleans when they're fully healthy, but I ain't seen Zion step out there yet, and their depth is a bit questionable right now. Dallas is out, in my opinion. Utah out. Portland is officially out. OKC I respect a great deal, but they're young. I don't think they can necessarily beat us in a 7-game series, but they'd give us hell, though. They would. Who else in this thing? Phoenix, I already made a statement about Phoenix in regards to if I had to choose between the team I want to see in the first round, they're actually it. And it took a lot of brainstorming to come to that conclusion, but I just don't trust their depth, and I don't trust Devin Booker and KD's health. I think they can't afford to lose either one of those players and are likely going to have to if they play a 7-game series with us. They're going to miss a game or two. They're going to roll an ankle or something. And that's what I'm basically banking on. I trust their health less than I trust ours. And I'm not a big fan of the Lakers situation because of our core. But, it is what it is. As I said yesterday, I don't want to overthink the Phoenix thing. You know what I mean? I respect who they have. You get in a blender with Devin Booker, you're going to probably be on the wrong side of it. If KD wants to shoot 50 shots, he's going to come up with 200 points. Like, it's not going to be difficult or something like whatever I'm saying. You know what I'm trying to say. If it comes down to it, you definitely don't want to be on the wrong side of them. But my thing is, who's behind them? Who's around them? Is it enough? Absolutely not. It's not. Their situation is only slightly better than Dallas's, and they've been able to overcome it because they started from a better position than Dallas did when they made the trade. Had a better record. I think they'd actually be falling just like Dallas if, for some reason, they had less games left in a worse position to start with since the trade. I just don't think they have enough right now, and I don't fear them like maybe wisdom tells me I should based on their core. I don't fear them. That's a secret. I don't think I'm supposed to say that, but I do not fear Phoenix, man. I just think they need to add to their bench a great deal. It's only like 2 or 3 players on that bench that I think could really hurt people, and that's not enough in a 7-game series. And it certainly ain't enough in 4 7-game series, which is what they need to beat in order to win the championship. So that's what I think, man. They get the wrong path. They can leave. They can get out of here early, real early. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, they are in the 5 or the 6 spot, I believe. I don't remember. I think Phoenix is in 4, which means they would probably end up seeing either the Clippers or the Golden State Warriors. And I don't think they want to see the Warriors necessarily for obvious reasons. And the Clippers, I think, is a fine matchup for them because Paul George ain't out there. They're just going to outclass them. So, if they get a chance to see Phoenix, I'm pretty sure if Phoenix gets a chance to see the Clippers, I'm sure the Clippers are out of here in the first round, you guys. That's happening. If they see the Golden State Warriors, it's going to take 7 games to beat them, and I don't know that they can beat the Golden State Warriors. I don't think they have enough to beat the Golden State Warriors. Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, am I overthinking that? Because it's Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, but they've only been together for 5 minutes. You going up against who? The NBA champs? The current NBA dynasty? Yeah, even though they're having a down year. 7 games against Jordan Poole, Clay, Steph, Dre, Kuminga. I just think they have a slightly stronger team than Phoenix right now. They do. Even though they're not playing better than Phoenix right now, they do have a slightly better team than Phoenix when it's all said and done, especially with Wiggins coming back. They do. So, this is interesting, man. It's really interesting. I don't think people see it like that. I think a lot of people just assume that Phoenix is going to be waltzing through the Western Conference. Those are the same people who probably thought that Dallas was going to waltz through the Western Conference. And look, man, I've listened to the conversations about Dallas. I've talked about Dallas probably as much as I've talked about any team lately. But the situation is as is. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic are amazing offensive talent, but if you don't surround them with the pieces necessary, they're not going to be able to do what they need to do to succeed. They don't mesh well together to begin with. It's ISO, your turn, my turn. That never really works anyway. But when you have that coupled with a bunch of stuff that doesn't fit, and it comes down to the last second shot, and you don't know who to go the ball to because both of them are elite closers, but it doesn't quite mesh well. It's weird. If you gave them a couple years to put it together and you put the right pieces around them, they'll be a dominant regular season team. But I don't know if that core can really win a championship. I don't know, man. You got to give them a third player in the paint that can dominate. They need their Ayton. You know what I mean? That's what they need. They need their AD. And because they don't have that piece, and it doesn't look like the piece is coming, uh, I don't think they should go forward with that core. I don't. And that's coming from somebody who wants to see Kyrie get his money, but not necessarily long term in Dallas. Maybe sign the contract there and then get traded real soon. That's might be the best thing to do. Yeah, that might actually be the course of action, to be honest with you guys. And I've been thinking a lot about this. That's the sweet medium for the Dallas Mavericks. You sign Kyrie Irving and you trade Kyrie Irving at the deadline. That's what you do, because you don't want to put yourself in a position to let his value leave you. You don't necessarily see a path to re-signing or signing other free agents. You don't. But if you sign him to a deal that doesn't offend the market, you should probably be able to move it, especially if he has a good first half of the season next year. Now, I don't know if you can move it into off season as you sign him. You can do a sign and trade, but I don't know who's going to agree to that necessarily. I don't really see how all of that really comes together just yet. But what I can say is you definitely can see them trading him at the deadline next year on a full contract, and somebody will pick it up. Somebody's situation will shake loose. One of these superstars will get angry and want to get the hell out of there, and you'll be able to make it a move for him. That's inevitable. Something's going to shake loose. So that's really what it comes down to for me. If I'm Dallas, I kind of probably just take that course of action rather than to let Kyrie walk, because they apparently, a lot has been said about them wanting to keep Kyrie over the last 24 hours I've been reading, instead of my initial thought, which was that they were going to probably want that cap space, try to go shopping with it, try to make trades to get something for it. But like I said, that's a difficult thing for a lot of GMs to do. It's a lot of stuff that's a fall into favor for you, and someone has to be willing to take whatever you have to match salaries, stuff like that. So it might be a little difficult for them to match salaries without a sign and trade for him, without moving Luka, obviously, because the rest of their stuff is arguable to not have a whole lot of value, especially since they haven't played up Christian Wood, which is the biggest problem I think they've had. So what they might have to do in order to make some real things happen for themselves is give away one of them young kids they should not want to give away, Hardy and Green. One of those dudes might have to be on the move to straighten their situation out. And that's why I'm of the mindset that the cap space is probably something they should just hold on to. Because if you get into a situation where you sign Kyrie Irving and then you can't move that for any reason, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because now you got a core that doesn't necessarily mesh. You got other pieces that you can't bring to you what you need to make sense. That's what it really comes down to. Dallas is in a cluster, so to speak, like Kyrie said. And it's not just about players on the floor sacrificing and all the other rah-rah stuff that has really less to do with what's actually happening. What's happening down there is they just don't have pieces that fit. They've made bad decisions, and now it seems like they want to go in a different direction than what they probably should go from here, which is likely not re-signing Kyrie, keeping that cap space, and finding other ways to fill your roster out so the team makes more sense, so that you don't lose Luka Doncic for nothing. But a lot of people think that you're going to lose Luka Doncic if you don't re-sign Kyrie Irving, because that's his running mate, and they already let one of his running mates leave in Jalen Brunson. But I don't think so. I don't look at it like that. I think Luka Doncic, he's a much smarter basketball player than that. And he knows that if you sign the wrong guy and slap him next to him, you're going to have more of what you see this year, and he's going to want out of that. So is Kyrie. So that's what I believe. Kyrie needs to get his money, so it's not in his best interest to do anything but play nice. But as soon as he signs under the dotted line, he's probably going to be looking for a way to get somewhere else, because that's not a good fit for him. It wasn't a good fit when they traded him there, and we knew it wasn't going to work when they did it, and now that it's not working, it's not surprising. So, I'm listening to him and what he's saying. He's proud of the effort. He's trying his best to, manage the circumstances while being asked basically why the team is failing. He can't tell the truth about that. The truth is the team ain't built to succeed. It's not. They can't win. He can't win. His talent level is amazing, but this is the NBA, bro. Everybody's talented. Everybody's huge. So even if you got a godlike talent like his and Luka's, at the end of the day, everybody else is godlike talent in their own way, and they're coming at you with more complete basketball teams. That's it. Just more complete basketball teams. We can break down, Luka and Kyrie, they play too much ISO. And they kill the league with ISO when they're in good situations. So just put them in good situations with multiple ball handlers and players that can do all their things, and they'll be fine. That's really it. That's it. They need more help. They need a lot more help, and there's no path to them getting it. Not as currently constructed. So that's why I'm telling the Dallas Mavericks it might be time to reset. Just hit the reset button. Beep, reset. Get rid of everything of value that's not named Luka Doncic, and if Luka Doncic doesn't like you, get rid of him too. Period. That's it. Because anything else is going to make you not good enough, and you're going to be in no man's land his entire time as to which he's going to leave anyway. Tell you, that's the only path. This is the same thing I said about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like, look, you don't really have a choice whether you know it or not. You got to trade Karl Towns or Anthony Edwards. That's it. That's all. That is all it's going to be. You may not necessarily see it that way now, but as time passes and things tumble forward, you're going to find out that's the only path you got. Why? Because your team ain't going to be good enough. Your bench is not going to be good enough to do any of the things that you're trying to do. None of it. That's just what it comes down to, and you don't have a path to that without creating the cap space that those guys will provide you. Now, you'll be able to re-sign Anthony Edwards to his Supermax if it comes to that, because now they've allowed for a third Supermax or whatever, but that's not going to make it so that your situation's any better from what it is now. That just means you can keep what you got, which ain't good enough. So, for me, I'm looking at Minnesota. I was like, y'all was dead in the water as soon as y'all pulled the trigger on that trade. And the only chance y'all had of making anything happen was winning the championship this year, while Rudy Gobert is still upright and healthy and good enough to help you compete. But now that they're in this space without Naz Reid, and the West is as it is, much better than them basically, it has begun for the Minnesota Timberwolves. It has begun. This is the beginning of the end. If they want to get out from under this right away, unscathed, you just trade Karl Towns in the offseason. You just trade him in the offseason. And if you don't want to get rid of him, get rid of Anthony Edwards. And if you don't want to get rid of him, try to find a patsy to take Rudy Gobert for the same thing or close to the same thing you traded him for, and see if that works out for you, which it will not. Because nobody's going to do that, because he's not worth that. He wasn't worth that when you did it. That's why we told you shouldn't have done it. So that's what I think about those two franchises, man. Dallas and Minnesota are headed in the wrong direction, and they're going to be down for a little while unless they do what it is I said they need to do. Dallas needs to reset completely. Tear it all the way down. Reset. Because if you're not good enough to win a championship with Luka Doncic, you're not good enough to keep Luka Doncic. Period. And for the Minnesota Timberwolves, of course. You only got to trade one of them dudes. And you should probably trade Karl anyway. You probably should. So it's one of them situations where you move Karl to Brooklyn or something like that, send him home to New York, and get back something that makes sense. Get back some of them picks from the Knicks or something like that. I'm pretty sure they'd be happy to bring Karl Towns to their situation. I'm pretty sure they would. So that's really what I'm looking at, man. Trade Karl to the Knicks for a bunch of picks if possible. They only going to give you half of their picks. They ain't going to give you 7 of them. They probably give you 4.5 or something like that. For Karl Towns. Reset your situation. There goes the 4 picks right there that you reset to put you in a position to have some flexibility to build around Anthony Edwards. That gives you the picks necessary to get rid of Rudy Gobert, because ain't nobody going to take that crap off your books. Get that off your books with what you get back for Karl Towns, and build around Anthony Edwards with the picks and this cap space. That's the best way forward for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm telling you, a lot of teams, they don't want to do that, but what they end up finding out is they're no better than a 6 seed every time. They're capped off at 6 seed every year until they do this. And a lot of teams are fine with that, because they be missing the playoffs for 18 and 19 years in a row. But me, I'm building a championship. I ain't playing around about nothing. If my team ain't good enough to dominate, it ain't good enough to invest in. If it ain't good enough to see me building something that can dominate, it ain't good enough to invest in. And that's the Laker in me. So that's just is what it is, man. I'm not. You put me in charge of both of those franchises, I'll turn them around 3 years. Give me 3 years. I'll turn them around. You're going to be out of your superstar, but we're going to replace him with some more. Trust. Just give me some time. So that's what it is, man. I ain't tripping off none of this stuff. I don't get emotional about basketball teams. The team, at the end of the day, if your superstar ain't happy, you need to make that environment a place where a superstar would be happy. If you can't make a superstar happy, you ain't got no business having that superstar. Now, you ain't going to give up a superstar just because you're not fit to have one. But what I'm telling you is your situation's going to suck. That's all it is. Just because you're arrogant enough to hold on to your star and you ain't giving him up does not mean that he can win there. He can't win there. He can't win there. So you got to reset your situation. You can't be emotional about it. BDL44. Thank you all for watching. Out.